Okay, welcome. This is the Tuesday, July 19th, regular meeting of the North Shore Board of Fire Commissioners. We are now in session, and first order of business will be roll call.
Commissioner Admin.
Here.
Commissioner Pratt.
Present.
Commissioner Byers.
Present.
And Commissioner Webster and Commissioner Wallum are not available tonight. Chief Cowan.
Here.
Legal counsel Peter Ruffalo.
Yeah, Peter Rufato, thank you. Yeah.
And we do not have representation from our city council members and board secretary.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Item number 2, public comment.
Not receive any advance requests for public comment, but if anyone would like to make a public comment, you can raise your hand and unmute.
Okay, seeing none. We'll move on. Item number 3 is approval of agenda, and I'm going to make 2 suggestions, 2 edits. Given the absence of both Commissioner Webster and Commissioner Woolm, I move that we amend the meeting agenda by striking 4.3 meeting frequency discussion and item 4.4 approval of revised policy 1410 from the agenda.
I think perhaps we could have just a brief discussion of that policy 1410 only to the extent of just the numbering issue of the document to make an update to the document before we bring it back.
Okay, so keeping item 4.4, but instead of approval of the revised policy,
Just discussion.
discussion. Okay. Any objections to the suggested amendments to the agenda? Okay. All in favor of the, or actually, take a motion, please.
I move that we approve the agenda as modified.
I'll second that.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, item 4.1, server room and HVAC proposals.
So hats off to Zeb for dogging this and actually the alerting proposals as well. We did end up with 3 quotes. I shared them with Commissioner Webster, gave my recommendation as well as Zeb's, which we were in concurrence, that to not go with the lowest bid, it was close to lowest bid. It was the second bid with, no, I'm sorry. That's the J mark. That was actually, no, actually I'm speaking correctly. Okay, so and go with the second lowest bid. And Rick had, I'm sorry, Commissioner Webster had concurred to go with the second lowest bid. It was because they were familiar with they were the ones that had done our system before. They had done some of the repair work in the past, even had the loaner AC unit that was in there, and offered some maintenance, perks to it as well. So, I mean, if you factor it out over a couple of years, it was actually probably even the lowest bid. But Commissioner Webster looked at it, concurred, so we were going to go with it.
Do you recall which of the 3 proposals that one was? Which vendor? There was McDonald Miller, there was PSC Services, and there was PSR.
Or PSR
Mechanical.
Yeah. Okay. We at Shoreline we had McDonald Miller, but 51 and 57 was PSR.
Okay, and so Chief, I forget, did we have a standing motion that once we had agreement, you could move ahead, or do we need a motion to proceed with PSR Mechanical?
That's a great question, because this is a learning curve for me a little bit of figuring out my lane of travel on this. We have discussed this in the past, and talked about, but that was when we only had 1 bid.
Yeah.
And the board, we were talking about making sure that Commissioner Webster had a chance to review it. So for me, I was like, we've got 3 bids. It's under $40,000. I have some board input even. and good to go. I was going to move forward, and so I want to make sure that I'm meeting your needs and expectations of what to bring back to the board for formal approval or not. I felt like we had already discussed it, got the bids, and I was going to move forward. So I just need you to tell me I'm trying to figure out how you want me to work, within your expectations. So for me, I was going to move forward with it. And then as the agenda came out, it was like, okay, wait, we need to discuss this.
Yeah.
I'm not used to doing that. So
Yeah, I think
I
that-
didn't mean to jump the gun. I was just like,
No, that has been our pattern, and I'd appreciate continuing with that pattern is to have formal agreement by the board to move forward with something like that, unless there's an emergent need, right? Like with the
Right.
alerting system. But for these discretionary spending, I'd appreciate
okay,
consulting the board.
sure. I'm trying to find my lane.
Yeah.
So I'll try and not be so jumping the gun. And unless it's immersion or something like that, of course.
Yeah.
And then I always my habit is always to come back to, if I have an emergent one, to at least have the chair, say, yep, that makes sense, go with it. So actually, I guess what I'm looking for is approval from the board at this point, to go with our bid.
Perfect. All right. Can we have a motion?
Sure. Based on the fact that the chief has already reviewed this with Commissioner Webster, who has knowledge of it, and they recommend the bid for PSR Mechanical. I move that we accept the bid from PSR Mechanical and authorize the chief to contract with them for the Station 51 HVAC server room cooling project.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All right, excellent. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
That's the next. Hold on a quick second. I want to make sure that I have that I'm thinking about this correctly. It's the second lowest bid. I'm sorry, I should have printed them out and had them in front of me.
So the PSR proposal
Was the second lowest?
dollar amount is $17,577.
Okay, I thought it was.
The PSE services is 16,800.
Okay, it is. Okay, I'm correct. It's
And
PSR. The other one was like
McDonald
20.
Miller is the 24,000.
Yeah,
So it is PSR service.
PSR. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to double check before you approved it.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion has been moved and seconded. Do you have clear language on that, Amy?
Oh, good.
Okay, all right.
And
I
unless
was
you want me to
distracted.
repeat it. I wasn't.
No, it's okay. I think we're good. Good?
Yep.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And aye. Excellent, thank you. Unanimous?
And thanks for providing some guidance for me.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, item 4.2, station alerting system. Chief, you contacted me, but then kind of backed away from.
Right. So actually with the HVAC, one of the reasons why I was going was like, we're running into supply issues on everything. But I don't think we'll run into as much of an issue with the HVAC work as much as the alerting. Right now, they're saying that we won't even get some of the components until January. Yeah, that's kind of what I did too.
They're gonna be able to limp it along until then?
Well, it was debatable whether or not it was going to be repairable. It was that bad. Fortunately, we were able to get it repaired because obviously we don't want to go that long with not having, in facility alerting. So the good news was that they were able to repair it. And they provided two quotes. The first quote, or one for here and one to upgrade the system at 57. The one at 57 is complete and accurate to what we were looking for. The bid here at 51, we need to do some more work on because it was it did not do everything we were looking for at doing and upgrading it fully and fixing the system. It would have fixed our problem areas, but it would not have upgraded the whole system. And we were looking for upgrading the whole system. So we've kicked it back to them. So this is for discussion only tonight. I'm not looking for anything. We'd like to go with JMark. There's some reasons for sole sourcing this. It's similar to what the system is at 57, and it's similar to what we did with our shoreline stations as well. So it would make sense to stay with J-Mark. They're familiar with the system, et cetera. The problem that we're running into is that this, the wiring and so forth in here is 20 years old, and so it's, instead of like one wire or a few wires, there's bundles and bundles of wires, apparently. And so they were just going to repair a little bit of it and leave the rest, but that would have left us open to potential failures again in the future. If we're going to spend that kind of money, I believe that we should be, fixing it, which means we're going to need to spend more money. But I would rather spend more money and make sure that we're fixing it, than to piecemeal it together.
The wiring at 57 says 20
Well-
years old. The wiring here is not 20 years old.
Or I'm sorry, okay,
Okay.
sorry, 20 years old.
Yeah.
But the technology that was installed here is
It's the same vintage.
well, yes, it's similar, and they don't do it the way that they've been doing it in the past. And so, and the way it was described to me, I wasn't here when Zed walked through with them. I'm relaying what Zed said. Is if you look at some of the wiring, and there's tons of wires that go to each other, kind of like a home run system, where they don't do that anymore. So they will actually have to pull all the wires and redo the wiring, to make it upgraded into the spec that we would like it to be. And they have not provided that quote yet.
Okay.
So the quote for 57 is accurate, but the quote here is not. It's going to be more.
Okay. And when do you anticipate getting that?
Zeb's working on it.
Okay.
I don't know what that looks like.
What was the nature of the failure?
So
Was it locution or was it everything or what?
it was, it was a computer module. I don't know the actual term for it, but we lost our alerting, and then actually I think you were on duty even.
Thankfully, I wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't John. Anyway, the doorbell chime turned on and was constant. And we lost alerting, and that was happening. So I believe Chief Burrow I think it was Chief Burrow, basically started flipping things off, and got the right amp apparently that triggered it. So it disabled everything. So we lost everything, and they came back and replaced the module and did some troubleshooting and all that. And there was a couple other, I think, controllers that they replaced as well. And to your point, have repaired it for now. So I certainly don't want to wait beyond feeling good about the quotes to make a decision on this, because it is so far out and we have no idea of the next break, if it's going to be repairable or not. I mean, pretty much potentially anything's repairable, at a cost. So, but I need to get that other quote.
I guess the nature of my question was, the units were still able to be dispatched via pages
Yes.
and whatnot. It was just like
Right.
the
The
tones and
in station,
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the in station, it does not affect, to my knowledge at least, it doesn't affect, the phones and pagers.
so it's less of an operational issue than kind of a just convenience.
Well, but it's also your backup too,
Sure.
so if for some reason you didn't get the page, this would be another,
Yeah.
and then at night too,
Mhm.
kind of things.
Right. I guess it just, for me, it drives it's a question of how urgent is the issue. I mean, it's still urgent.
It's not
but
super urgent.
but
I mean,
not as urgent as
it's
it
not
would
like
be.
we're not gonna get called,
Right, right.
but, it's that, it's just the, making sure that we, actually get it from a redundancy standpoint. So,
Got it.
but just like most everything, it's the supply issues it's January.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So, fingers crossed that we don't have another repair to make, but, we're still gonna be living with this for the next 6 or 7 months regardless.
Okay, so Chief, what do
So-
you need from us? You need
I need to come
authority
back.
to move forward with, nope,
I need to come back with accurate numbers so you guys
Okay.
can make a decision. It's gonna be significant money.
okay.
And then the follow-up to that is, the 57 is antiquated as well and doesn't have, the alerting that can be, programmed to the stations or to the rooms. It's not ergonomic and all that. So, we should be looking at that maybe at the same time. Maybe we'll get a deal, if it's,
Yeah.
if we're doing both at the same time. But at some point, it could fail too. But we should be making it more ergonomic for our firefighters anyway, in my opinion. So that will be part of my recommendation, is to look at both the stations at the same time.
Especially with multiple units running out of there.
Exactly. So, but again, this is just a discussion right now for informational purposes as to where we're at. And I will have Zeb, because Zeb will be able to more intelligently answer your questions and talk about this when we're ready to present with an actual quote. I'll have him here.
Great. Okay. All right. Skipping 4.3 and landing on 4.4 just as a discussion rather than approval. There was some concerns about the formatting of the new policy 1410.
Yeah, I'll just discuss that briefly. Amy, do you know who came up with that revised policy? Was that one of the commissioners, or was it you, or?
It was Commissioner Rowland.
It was Commissioner Mullen. Okay. All right. I think in reading the document, it's just difficult to follow the organization of the document. The numbering is unclear, so it's hard to see what section is being referenced. So I think maybe what I'll do is just when Commissioner Mullen comes back, I'll just talk with her. We'll just make some revisions to the document so it's more understandable just with the numbering, and then we can bring it back for discussion.
Great. All right. Anything else on that, Commissioner Byers? All right. Item 4.5, update on aid 157.
Everybody's been trained up. The systems design, which is a third-party billing, is aware. The report out that I got from Division Chief Wallen was that we're ready to go. So August 1st rolls around, we should be up and running. In fact, may not be quite out yet, but it's it's being entered into Telestaff to start populating the overtimes or whatever it takes to fill the positions. So we should be ready to go.
Excellent. Questions for the chief on aid 157? Commissioner Byers?
Nope. Thanks, Chief, for making that happen.
No problem. Thanks again for allowing me an extra month.
You bet.
The firefighters appreciate it.
All right, item 4.6, station 51 door codes.
Because it seems to be a theme, it's a supply issue. We're waiting for, I think, 3 parts to finish out that project. And then we'll be able to reissue everybody's codes and everything will be upgraded and ready to go. So, but we're still waiting for a few parts.
Okay. Okay, and discussion of the distribution of hours at station 51 and station 57.
I didn't know what this was in reference.
I think Commissioner Webster wanted to keep this as kind of an ongoing
Oh, is
agenda
this the
item.
audit?
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
yes, yeah, that, it's actually not just 51 and 57, it actually be 51 and 57 and every, as a percentage of everybody.
Yes.
I'm thinking that this will probably be maybe late next month, September. We have to be on our new, everybody needs to be entered and we need to be on the new system to be able to even audit it. Maybe sooner, but it's going to be a little bit still.
Okay. And when do you anticipate the integration of both organizations into Telestaff and?
Everybody's in Telestaff right now, but we're still working through some of the payroll issues, and all that. In fact, I need to make some corrections to about 7 or 8 people. So that it's still an ongoing, we're still getting through the payroll process, and it's a priority for me, but I need to make sure that we're operational before I worry about the audit.
Yeah. Okay.
It will, at some point whether it's next month or next week or whatever, at some point we'll be able to audit it and provide all the percentages that it's looking for.
Okay. And item 4.8, discussion of King County Fire Commissioners and Washington State Council memberships. I think this was something that Commissioner Wolem wanted left on here. So I'm gonna
Table it
ask that we
until she's
table
here.
this until she comes back. Yeah. And we need some input she was gonna seek input from Don Killian on that as well. So I think that she had done the research on the history of our memberships. So. Board resolutions, none. Item 6, consent agenda.
Note that we approve the consent agenda.
Commissioner Byers,
Sorry, I couldn't hear you there for a second.
there's a motion
Looking for a
to-
second on that for the
Yeah.
consent agenda. Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Excellent, thank you. All right, consent agenda has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And aye. Right. Reports. Item 7.1, Fire Chief.
Pretty much, I think most of the stuff is in the activity report. Do you guys have any questions?
I did it earlier, just reviewing it. Is there a new fire chief in Lake Forest Park? I mean,
Did I say fire chief?
no, police chief, I mean,
In Lake, it's Mike Carter.
okay,
No. he's
okay,
been there for a while.
okay.
I have not met with the Kenmore chief, but I believe he's interim. I don't, but Mike and I were talking about trying to get together with the, even if he's interim, at some point here soon, but we haven't set a meeting.
Chief, any updates on the status of the consortium?
So we have approved the extra 15 Eastside students to come in. Our plan, and again, I don't know all of the logistical details, and they're actually probably still being developed even as we speak. But the plan will be to separate out the class into 2 different groups.
Mhm.
So group stuff can be done here, or even group stuff on the drill ground. But when we actually get to more of the hands-on practical time where we need, to be able to use our tower, that'll probably be separated out and rotated as groups. So like one group will be here, the other group at 61 or wherever, using our tower. This is a better tower, but 61 is a good tower. So, and then rotate, and be able to make sure that we get the practical hands-on time, because that was my biggest concern, was to make sure that we have a quality, academy.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, that everybody's good to go. And for me, a lot of a bigger group, my biggest concern was less hands-on, less practical time. So that was my challenge to Andres, was to come up with a plan. And so they've got an org chart, basically to switch the academy into 2 different divisions, so that they can rotate divisions, to this tower or wherever is necessary. Eastside is going to be providing some extra admin support and an extra training officer to help defray some of the costs. The cost is actually could even be less than what we were going to pay, depending on whether or not we tap into any contingency funds, which there's a 10% contingency fund, and hazmat. There's a request to the IAFF to sponsor the hazmat training, and if that's the case, we'll actually spend about $100 less per student than we would have. If we don't tap the contingency fund in the IAFF, it's like about the same price. But if worst case scenario is that we tap the 10% contingency fund and have to pay for the hazmat, it's like $80 or $90 more than what we were paying, which is negligible, really. So it was roughly about the same cost. So really, it came down to quality. Make sure that we have a quality, product. That academy will start later this next month, and it'll be very busy. It'll be very logistically challenging, but I believe in the people that have done the work in evaluating whether it was going to be a go or no go, and so I supported it. It was the right thing to do to help our neighbors out, and basically Eastside's in a bind because they don't have a training facility, to be able to train their firefighters out, and there wasn't any options down south.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, that's the academy, the consortium. So Eric Walgren is going to stick around for a while longer. He'll help out with the academy, but because we don't have agreement on the amended ILA either, so Walgren will be around. We don't have a transition date for him, but it'll be later this year. I'm assuming towards the end of this year. We did a bunch of live fire training over at Acquired Structures in Shoreline. The feedback I got is all excellent training. You attended some days, you know, and I even walked through some of it. And it sounds like he's getting good fire behavior. They're reinforcing certain training points, especially around ventilation. That's been a big focus this time around. So that's ongoing, and we still have some more Acquired Structures, but they shortened some of the training just because of the heat. But we are going to get back to it probably this fall. The structures will still be available to us. There's a bunch of Shoreline's turned down a ton of homes to build multifamilies. So hopefully, you know, Acquired Structures are, in fact, Anders and I were talking about this. Acquired Structures are awesome for us because it's the most realistic training that we're going to be able to get. Sometimes you don't have any structures for years even, but right now I think for the next year or two at least we'll have some opportunities with Acquired Structures at Shoreline, so that's really good.
How about the ongoing status of Bothel's participation?
Bothell, so that's a great question. Short answer is I don't know what the chances are or whatever. I believe, in fact, I know Chief Crone is actually on vacation now. He's expected to not even be able to bring it to the Bothell City Council until September. The request to go into the other ILA, he still would, if he doesn't want to pay for 2023, which I believe they probably will, they will also need permission from us to exit from our ILA without penalty. He has shared with me that he doesn't think he has the votes to do this other ILA. So I don't know what the stat. Again, the short version is I don't know. I don't know what kind of chances he has of convincing the council to go into this other ILA at this point.
Okay.
But what he has told me, and again, I'm not trying to guess or anything. I'm just telling you what he has told me, which is he doesn't think he has the votes. So.
Copy. Okay. Any other questions for the chief on his report? Okay, commissioner reports.
No report.
I would just like Commissioner Byers.
No report.
I just like to take this opportunity to give the board's condolences and heartfelt love out to the Webster family, and specifically Commissioner Webster this time. So, yeah, that's all for that. Legal counsel.
Yeah, thank you. Matt Paxton forwarded me a news article and said the board may be interested in a news article. You may be familiar with it, but a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that was filed against East Side Fire, having to do with the vaccine mandate and accommodation issues. And I don't have a lengthy presentation on that. I understand it is based on accommodation under whether it's religious, disability, or potentially even age. You know, we continue to believe, and Matt Paxton expressed this, that, you know, although these cases are ultimately fact specific in general, we don't think that they will be successful. But that's a brief report out on that, and I can try to answer questions if you have any.
Commissioners, any questions for legal counsel?
I guess the only question I might have would be, this is Commissioner Admin. Is there anything, I feel like the accommodation situation in North Shore is different than East Side. So I guess my question is, do you feel like there's anything in that would point to us having a similar lawsuit? Or, I mean, there's already been a lawsuit filed in our situation.
I'm familiar with the class action one. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm curious if there's any potential liability for us in that arena, or if this is just for information about what's happening elsewhere.
This is just for information on what, awareness of what's happening on this front. And I agree, my understanding from the information I received from Matt is that it was handled differently by this commission in terms of what was going to be permitted in terms of accommodation. So I think that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for legal counsel? Okay, before we move on, I see that President Lozier is on the meeting, and we didn't have our regular agenda item for interaction with the local, but President Lozier, if you'd like to make a comment, or if you have a question or any contribution to the meeting this evening.
I'm really just attending just to kind of hear what you guys have to say and see how we can continue to support both the Shoreline and North Shore Fire Departments together. Chief Cowan has been really good with working through a bunch of just different small little things with the whole blending process, but I feel like he's really trying to be fair as much as possible to try and equal things out as much as possible. So, overall, it seems like it's been a very smooth process for the transition for the employees compared to what we hear from a lot of contracts for services or mergers. So in part, that's thanks to you guys as well for allowing everything to be handled as you guys have. So thank you.
Thank you, President Lozier. And just so you're aware, we decided to strike regular interaction with the local from our agenda item and just have it as needed. So if you feel like you have something to contribute to the meeting, please reach out to myself or Chief Cowan, and we'll get you on the agenda.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 8, upcoming board agenda items. So I think, Amy, we should revisit item 4.3. And do you anticipate in 2 weeks having a revision of policy 1410 complete? Or should we push that out one more meeting?
I'm gonna push out one more meeting.
Okay. All right, any other additions that we need to include, Commissioner Byers? Okay, Amy?
I guess looking at what was on tonight's agenda, probably alerting systems coming back.
Yeah, I'm just not sure.
We're waiting on a proposal
We
for
can put it
that.
on there as a potential, I suppose, and hope that we have the
Estimates.
information that we need.
Sorry, which item was that?
Alerting is,
4.2.
The
Yeah.
alerting proposal for station 51. Is there a need to keep the door codes on the agenda?
I know that Zeb will push something out to you all once we're, good to go.
Yeah. Maybe just
I don't think there needs to be an agenda item, but it's up to you all.
Could
Just
probably
do-
could just be incorporated in a chief's.
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, actually, there you go.
an update on that status. Yeah.
I don't know if he's got an ETA even on the parts that are missing, but he was hoping within the next couple of weeks.
And then the distribution of hours between the two stations, I didn't catch the date. You said you wouldn't have that information till the end of.
I'd say let's keep this as an agenda item so it stays as a priority. I just don't know.
Okay.
I can't tell you exactly when I'm going to be able to produce that report.
Okay, and then the other item that we tabled tonight was the King County Fire Commissioners and the WFCA membership
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, let's keep that.
Okay. And then, I don't know if this is the time to discuss it, if it needs to be discussed in open session, but I won't be here for the 2 meetings in August. So I'll be out of the country. and it sounds like there might not be.
Yeah, so actually I was gonna bring that up. Well, it's almost like the perfect storm is Amy won't be here, Beatrice won't be here, and even our backup to the backup is not gonna be here. So we were wondering if we could cancel or reschedule, postpone.
Or you can have it and I can just tell you
Yeah.
how to operate everything.
Well, and we could record it and then just have and then it's done off the recording too.
Mhm.
So.
Think we'll probably need at least one meeting to complete the consent agenda, right? Make sure that,
Dawn said that she could, Dawn sent an email that said she could do the consent agenda in the August 16th. No, I don't know if I have the right date. Hold on.
Looks like the
August-
2nd and the 16th.
The 16th of August, she could do the consent agenda and it wouldn't impact payments if the August 2nd meeting was canceled. I believe she's available on August 16th to cover,
so Dawn's available on the 16th.
but not on August
Okay.
2nd.
Commissioners,
Which is
everyone
our next
comfortable with?
So you could keep the meeting, it's up to you, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what, let's hold on that decision and give Commissioners Woolham and Webster opportunity to contribute to that, and we'll just run that through you.
Okay,
I guess we should decide, are you saying we're gonna wait on deciding if we're gonna have an August 2nd meeting or not?
Correct.
Okay, how do you envision that we'll go through that yay or nay process?
Through Amy.
Okay,
Amy can put out a poll, everyone can contribute.
And I can make it happen, it's just, we just don't have as much of the support that we
Right.
typically would have. And then if we have something poignant or something like that, maybe we can have an abbreviated, meeting or something.
is it crucial that we have that August 2nd meeting, or do you think that we would potentially be able to arrange some backup for the August 16th meeting? Or-
We have backup for the August 16th meeting.
Oh, it's just August 2nd.
It's just
Yes,
the August 2nd.
I see.
I would say the only thing that's, from my standpoint at least, that would be potentially important is the alerting, bid. It's not crucial that we do it, but I prefer to not delay. But it's not worth, in my opinion, it's not worth having a meeting just for that. We can wait till August 16th. And frankly, we may not have the bids in time for August 2nd anyway. So so I'm good with waiting till August 16th if that's the board's desire.
I'm anticipating that the August 2nd meeting will be canceled, but I don't want to make that decision in the absence of two sitting commissioners, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Legal counsel, anything to add to this discussion here?
No, as long as you have your notice, make it clear to the public, so you don't have folks obviously showing up for meetings that are canceled, but and then if there's a meeting that were ever to be rescheduled on a different date entirely, those have to be basically handled as special meetings. For example, if you went contrary to what your resolution provides, so.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, everyone comfortable?
Sure.
Okay, all right. To be determined.
Okay.
All right. We have reached the end of our agenda, and without objection, we are in adjournment. All right,
Thanks for not mentioning that.
yeah.